It's easier when you acknowledge that everything is vibrational. When you try to figure things out from a thought standpoint, rightness and the wrongness, then things get all scrambled. But when you understand that it's a vibrational universe responding to vibration, and the way anyone feels is the indicator of what their vibration is, then it's easier for you to, after the fact or even before the fact, begin to sort some of these things out. The problem that most hold is this problem of resistance. In other words, they are wanting to manage their lives so specifically, but as they get into the specifics, all they do is produce more resistance. For example, when you say, I'm wanting $100,000 because there are many things that I want or need to do with it, that thought in and of itself could be a rather pure thought. Not much resistance in it. I'm wanting the dollars. But when you say, I'm wanting $100,000 and I'm wanting it by Friday, now there's more resistance. By Friday is more specific, but there is more resistance within the equation. The more general you are in your statement of desire, the more open you are to allowing. And the thing that we want you to hear is that the specifics happen every day as you are moving through your experience. When somebody says something to you that's a zinger, a rocket of desire is born. In other words, the clarification, the specifics of what is wanted are being born out of you constantly. And now what you're wanting to do is to practice the art of allowing. As you are speaking generally, you are usually in a place of greater allowing than when you are speaking specifically, because your vibration is pure. Everything that would ever happen in your experience is being taken care of by this orchestrator. And when you really feel confident in this orchestrator's ability to orchestrate on your behalf, then, and usually only then, do you relax and turn that part of it over. It causes you to identify your desire and hold no resistance. The reason that we like so much this analogy of the manager is because once you can play with the idea of it, and you can feel the supreme satisfaction you would have with such a person in your life. In other words, it's easier for you to accept it if it were a really extraordinary person who just had the ability to knock himself out in thousands of different ways in every day in order to put things in order for you. It's like having someone pre-paving your path. It's like an entourage of very effective people going before you and preparing every conversation, every moment in traffic. There are so many opportunities to visualize and feel the thrill of it, and yet most physical humans still think that that is idle work. They still think that that is a waste of time. In other words, there's still a part of you that thinks that you ought to be doing something. And so even as you are dovetailing into this and understanding most of it very clearly, there's a part of you that's afraid you might miss the action part that you're supposed to do. Sort of step right out of that feeling. Begin saying things like, I know I'll know. The impulse will be very strong. I will be guided by very strong impulse. And if there is no strong impulse to do something, then there's nothing for me to do. An impulse meaning it was an intention that was somewhere other than consciously recognized, that was strong enough that it motivated my action. So why do we want you to visualize? What's the whole point of visualization? If the manager's been watching you, if law of attraction or God or all that is or whatever it is you're wanting to call this creative life force, this eternal energy that is ever flowing, if it is always watching, and if you've been launching intentions all day, every day, all of the days of your physical experience, and if this non-physical energy knows exactly who you are and what you want, and is answering, because every time you ask, no matter how boldly you are asking or not, every time you are offering the vibration of desire, the universe is answering, then what is the point of your visualization? Well, the point of your visualization is not to make it happen. It's not to tell the universe more clearly what you want. The universe always knows clearly what you want. It is that in your visualization process, you are more likely to be in a place of being a vibrational match to your desire than if you're worried about it not happening.
Right.
And it's where the fun comes in. In other words, that's where you begin. Oh, it is so exhilarating to have imagined, to have pretended, to have flowed energy towards something. And when the actualization of it begins to come into place, it's like coming to the confluence of great rivers where all of this energy is flowing. You can just feel the energy of it. It is so delicious to be physically, specifically focused right out here on the leading edge and have all of that energy roaring through you, and to know that you have summoned it and to be in alignment with it. Because in the envisioning, there is softer resistance. When you are looking at what is, when you say, I'm wanting to attract this magnificent funding to carry this project that we have envisioned and have worked on into fruition. Very powerful vision, and one that dovetails with so many other intentions that you've held, and so there's a lot of energy flowing. And then when you say, but no one called today, or I don't know what to do today, or what if I miss my opportunity, you can feel the resistance within that. So you just lift off of that thought and fast forward into the vision of it already being done. In other words, you can take any pleasurable point in it. You can pretend that it's already done and you just got the call, or you can that the millions of dollars have been flowing to you for some time, and you have this huge enterprise where everyone is dancing, all these creative geniuses all working together, and the idea of funding is just not an issue. Or you could envision the thrill that you would receive the moment the idea came to you, and the exhilaration you feel when you just knew that that was the right idea. In other words, you can pick any point along what will be the unfolding path and use it as your point of visualization, as long as you understand that the whole purpose in the visualization is to get you into the happy place that allows the universe to give to you all that you've been asking for. The universe knows what you want, so your question in any moment is, am I letting it in? Am I letting it in? Now, you might be petting your cat and letting it in. You might be basking about a beautiful something that you are observing and letting it in. You might be relishing in the deliciousness of the little buggers on the elevator and letting it in. You might be enjoying a meal and letting it in. You might be loving your mate and letting it in. You might be appreciating the sunset and letting it in. You might be thinking about the project and not letting it in. You might be thinking about the project and letting it in. What we are saying to you is, we could teach anybody to let it in through the path of no resistance. In other words, that's what meditating is. It's easier to teach you to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. But it's not as much fun to be a powerful, deliberate creator where you shape the idea and then you take pleasure from the idea. Oh, nothing is more delicious than to evaluate contrast and give birth to a desire and feel its weirdness in the beginning, and know that this new desire, while it is tantalizing, is nowhere near where you are vibrating. So then your work begins. Now your work is to look at it and pretend it and play with it and imagine it until it becomes familiar. And then there is such pleasure in feeling the alignment of that energies, feeling the movement of the energies, and then the satisfaction of beginning watch actual manifestations begin to make their way into your experience. So you're yipping and yahooing, boom, you're in this new place with this new manifestation, and you sort of settle into it. It's all new and different again. You can feel the new platform. You are new unto the universe. Everything in your environment is different, and now you begin the new deciphering, and bam, another new unfulfilled desire, which is odd and uncomfortable at first, but now your work begins, and you look at it and you play with it and you mold it into place until you can feel it come into place. You are reaching for the sensation of joy. You're milking this. Your visualization is not to make something happen. Your visualization is for the pleasure of taking the ride with the rocket, you see. So now you work it into place. You feel the satisfaction. Oh, sometimes you're off, sometimes you're on. You have all of that pleasure. It's sort of like your tennis games. You don't go out there and look for somebody you can whoop every time. You like the idea of some competitor that brings more from you than has ever been brought from you before, and that's what this new desire is. In other words, you're not right there. It takes some concentration. It takes some visualization. It takes some molding the energy into place. But oh, the satisfaction. And now you're so good at it, you know you can do it. There's no risk that it won't be done. Now you're just taking pleasure from bringing yourself into alignment. And when you do, there's satisfaction all the way along the way of that alignment. And then there's the fun of the manifestations. They begin to make their way into your experience. You're yipping and yahooing. You're saying, oh, can you believe that? Can you believe that? Can you believe that? There's new manifestation, and then new contrast, which launches another idea, which is strange at first. And now your work begins again. And this molding process never, 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 never ends. It never ends, and you never want it to end. You know that you are an eternal being. You didn't come here to get it done. You came here for the birthing, and then the alignment, and then the receiving, and then the birthing, and then the alignment, and then the receiving. In other words, it's this eternal dance of you getting to use your brilliance to conclude, while the benevolent universe yields to you everything and anything that you could ever want, giving you ever-increasing new platforms to desire from. And when you get into that dance, you never again say, here I stand, in the absence of something wanted, because you know that thing wanted only ever existed as something for you to focus upon, to use as your reason for life force to flow through you anyway. It's all about life flowing through you, you see.